In the world of professional wrestling, when something is over, that means the fans love it. Whatever they got going, whatever they're doing, it's working and it's getting everyone to pop. This here is overs and unders for week number 3 of MPL Philippines season 13. We're talking about teams who are over for me and those who are under. And we're going from the top to the bottom. We're talking about 4 teams that are over and 4 teams that are under. Let's begin. On top of the charts this week, the most over team for me is still our defending champions, AP Bren. They are almost perfect, which I think makes them more desirable. The fact that they went all 3 games against Echo in last week's All-Star match made them both more human and, this is just for me, more endearing to cheer for, is because you know that they're not invincible. You know that they have vulnerabilities, that if you hit them in the right spot, they will cave. They are beatable. And it's that sign of weakness that shows us that even in their run as the defending champions of not just our league, but the world, even the best teams can find a way in. And that's going to wake up the better part of AP Bren going into the rest of the season, and they won't let that same thing get them again. They're almost perfect, and they are the most over team this week. Up next, just second to the defending champions, is I'm in for it. I'm all yellow inside now. I'm a Sonic confirmed. It's Onic PH. The super team, the super fam, whatever you want to call it, they have so much micro and macro depth. What we saw in week 1 was all fumes mostly, but best believe, underneath the hood is a V8 engine. Is that even still a thing? Are V8 engines a big deal these days? I don't know, technology. Cars. Anyways, Onic PH is confirmed a super team. They have such amazing micro from role to role, position to position, and their macro is unbelievable. They're able to crawl back from almost sure losses, and they understand mid-game and late-game power spikes. And even against teams that they know are really good at the dance, they just stop them right then and there. They don't even let them dance. And that's because of the amazing mechanics and communications of their mid-lane duo, Escalera and Super Prince. I'm in love. And let's not even talk about Kelra. Kelra is still amazing. Kelra does Kelra things, still the gold standard. Onic PH, second to the top. Third most over team this week for me is Echo. Interestingly enough, they have consistently switched up their roster. So there's 2 flavors of Echo this week, and they're both flavors of fast. I need to see more sample size. I need to maybe see week 4 or week 5, and then I can definitively tell you what the difference is between the Zaida Outplayed and Carl Easy Benny Cutie variants of Echo, but they both work. They both work consistently, and they both work very, very well. I'm in for it. They are over for me. Their loss to AP Bren did not dock any points from them, did not lose any stock. It's just, I'm really more in love with Onic this weekend, and I want to see more of Echo switching it up to really know which is the better lineup, which is the lineup we'll see more as they make a run for the playoffs, as they make a run for MSC. I'll be honest, week 3, a good chunk of the teams in the league showed their weak sides, showed their vulnerabilities. And this team right here, I think, showed that prior and are now relishing in the fact that they figured out what works. They're a work in progress. It's RSG PH. They won all their matches this weekend, and it's with the Aqua Nats variant. Not to say RTZ ain't good, not to say Nibor is going to be benched for the rest of the season. It's just, I think they needed this level of a foundation first, and they needed to understand what they're good at first, and what everyone else is good at, and then they employ with the specific strategies and the specific tactics that maybe these switch-ups allow for. Maybe there's something that RTZ only can do, or something that Nibor can only do. But right now, I'm happy with where they are, and I'm glad that they finally have a driver leading the pack. That's what this week's run for RSG was all about. They're the last over team for me in week 3. All right, let's get to, let's just band-aid this. Let's talk about teams that are under. First up, again, in a spectrum, I'm going from bad to worst, and I can't sugarcoat Minana Evos is struggling. They had a better week 1 and week 2 than they had a week 3. And in week 3, yes, they ended with a win, but a lot of what they're comfortable with and a lot of their tendencies seem to be super obvious to the rest of the league. One thing I did notice is that they are super comfortable in dive comps. Yes, given Miles plays 9 out of 10 utility heroes, 9 out of 10 the roamers that heal, and then that 1 out of 10 chance that they switch it up. He played an Arlot this weekend. Doesn't work out. Whether it be because they didn't prepare enough for that type of matchup against that kind of team, or it really is just something they're not used to. Again, they have some time left. It's not like Minana Evos are hurting for points. It's not like they're threatened out of playoffs contention once more. But again, history would tell you otherwise. They would like to secure a playoff spot as early as possible. But I'm hopeful. They are just right outside over territory this time. They're our first under team. Up next is a team that showed a lot of promise, a lot of wows, a lot of moments from week 1 and 2. And this weekend, they just couldn't cut it. I don't know what happened during the break, but Blacklist International is our second under team this weekend. So far, again, I can't show you and I can't tell you accurately what their heat map looks like, but in a lot of their moments, save for Lord dances, even in Lord dances, because Sensui needs to start elsewhere, and Sensui needs to come in and shock the opponents into getting into a position where they didn't expect them to be. They are so un-ube in Season 13. They are so far from what we know the ube strat to be, and we often see Edward, even Oheb sometimes, left alone outside of the ube box or outside of what we would expect them to have in rotations. So I don't know if that's a key to them evolving, because it can be both ways. It's good and bad. Good in the sense that it's a new identity for this Blacklist International roster, for their Season 13 look, for their champion mindset. It's bad because right now they're hurting for points. They're hurting for a win. They need a win going into week 4. And that's what puts them here in the under category for me. We're going to the danger zone, folks, as if the red lights aren't telling you that just yet. Second to the last team we're talking about, another under team this week, is TNC Pro Team. Last weekend, I put them in the over category because they finally played with what I assume would be the roster that they wanted to play all along. Their first 5, their starting 5, featuring Super Yoshi in the Rome, Nomad in the gold, and that showed a lot of promise, definitely, and got some results for the Phoenix Army as well. But this week, we saw some tendencies for them to, number one, lose map control somewhere in the mid to late game ramp or in the late game to the ultra late game peak. They just lose control. Like they let some things through, like a whole lane or a cut through a rotation, and then they miss out on certain points during objective takes, and then that just ruins everything for them, whether it be an instant payoff or something that was slowly built up over time. And they seem to be playing around with the goal that I can't put a finger on it, but in one series this weekend, they switched out Nomad for Yasuo mid-series. I don't know exactly just yet what the main difference between Nomad and Yasuo is, besides Nomad being able to play roam when you need him to, but I want to see more reps. I want to see more reps with this first 5, and realistically, I'd say 2 weeks. Starting week 3, and then next week. Next week, with this main 5, you stick to the program, and then after that, maybe you look for another shakeup. You look for, I don't know, are there answers in the MDL? Because the next team we're going to talk about has done that for sure, and their situation is just as bad, maybe worse. It's no secret that if you're a member of the barangay, a longtime fan, whether it be the old or the new, it's not looking good. The last team we're talking about in this week's Over and Under is Smart Omega, ang bagong barangay. They have yet to win a series. I don't know what's going on. They've started to shuffle again. They did the whole mixing up of rosters, right? They put Big J with the MDL crew with Omega Neos, who by the way had an amazing run in MDL Philippines Season 2. Now they've switched up, sent over Exhort to the MDL, and then brought up Ukir. Are they going to be replacing Ryle? Is Ryle going to be joining Mark in the mid lane now? So what's week 4 Smart Omega going to look like? Lewis XP Mid lane Ukir, Mark Rome, Matt Jungle, and then Big J in gold. Some points that Smart Omega has docked from them would be one, map control. They suffer some of the issues that the previously mentioned TNC has. And then they also seem to be scattered when it comes to not just the late game transitions, but even in mid game. Sometimes even in mid game, Smart Omega lose themselves. And again, a pro and a con when you have a gold laner as strong as Jome. Compared to maybe most gold laners, save for Kelra, he's super aggressive. Like, even if he's down half an item, he will try to pick fights. He will try to pick 2v1s. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes that's what you need in a gold laner. But sometimes he does that when two of his teammates are already dead. And the best that you can get is a trade. So it's things like that that I don't know what the solution to is internally. Because I can't tell Smart Omega what to do or how to do things. It's just I'm observing it, and this is what we're seeing, and these are the results. So I wish the barangay the best, and then I hope they figure something out because I have to be honest, they're running out of time to experiment in season 13. This has to be it. This has to be the glory run, the Hail Mary run. Week 4, if they figure something out, 5, 6, 7, they have to at least score 3 and maybe even deny points away for more than half their matches. I don't know what the math is exactly yet. The first time we're doing a 7-week season, that's the last team that we're talking about. That's the situation right now for Smart Omega. Let me know if y'all agree or disagree with the teams I put over and under in this week's episode. Put them in the comments and let me know. Reach out to me on social media at LeoCastsPH and give a man's Ray Ash a follow as well. He helps me make sure that you guys get the content you deserve in a timely manner. That's it for me for this week's overs and unders. I will be seeing you guys week 4 of MPL Philippines season 13 para sa tagumpay. Y'all take care. Peace. It's a super fam, it's Sonic PH, super fam, they got a 6-man roster here. What they gonna do if they need a sub? Yeah, super fam, I won't skate tonight, super fam, I don't think they gonna need a replacement. Because they got solid roster. They're super stable. Got the Louis, got the Freya, got all the good stuff, baby. Super fam, super fam.